What if an entire kingdom, its magnificent palaces, its mountains of gold, its royal crowns, and its history, vanished beneath the sand in a single night? For centuries, this question has haunted historians, explorers, and treasure hunters alike. Legend tells of a golden kingdom hidden somewhere beneath an endless desert. Its streets were paved with polished white stone, its palaces were decorated with intricate gold carvings, and its royal treasury held so much wealth that people believed it could have purchased entire empires. Then, in a single night, everything disappeared. There was no great war, no conquering army, no sign of looting. When the sun rose the next morning, the kingdom was simply gone. Only endless silence, and an ocean of sand remained. Even today, travelers crossing that desert claim that, at sunset, mysterious flashes of golden light sometimes shimmer beneath the dunes. Others say that on quiet nights they hear distant bells echoing beneath the earth, as if an ancient city is still alive below the sand. Are these nothing more than legends? Or is an entire forgotten civilization still buried beneath the desert? Our story begins nearly 2,000 years ago. In the heart of the vast desert stood a magnificent kingdom known as Zarin Nagar. It was more than just a city. It was the center of trade, knowledge, and unimaginable wealth. Caravans arrived from distant lands carrying silk, spices, precious stones, and rare metals. Its markets overflowed with gold coins, and merchants believed that fortune itself lived within its walls. People often said that if paradise could ever exist on earth, it would look like this kingdom. The kingdom was ruled by a wise and respected monarch known as King Sikandar Shah. Although he possessed immense wealth, he never believed that gold alone made a kingdom great. He often reminded his people, "A kingdom is protected not by its treasure, but by the trust of its people." To safeguard the future of the realm, he ordered much of the royal treasure to be hidden deep beneath the city, believing that if disaster ever struck, future generations would have the resources to rebuild their homeland. But throughout history, great wealth has always attracted great greed. One afternoon, a mysterious traveler arrived at the royal court. He introduced himself as a merchant from a distant land. He spoke politely, he smiled often, yet the palace guards noticed something strange. Instead of admiring the palace, his eyes kept drifting toward the ancient corridors beneath the castle. No one realized that he was not a merchant at all. He was a spy sent by a rival empire. Within weeks, rumors of the kingdom's legendary treasury spread across distant lands. Powerful rulers who had never cared about the kingdom suddenly became interested in only one thing: its hidden gold. Soon, the enemy king gathered the largest army his empire had ever assembled. His goal was not to conquer the people. It was to claim the treasure that legends described as the greatest fortune ever hidden beneath the earth. When news of the approaching army reached King Sikandar Shah, preparations for war began immediately. Soldiers strengthened the city walls. Blacksmiths forged weapons day and night. The people prayed that their kingdom would survive the coming storm. But that very night, the oldest royal scholar requested a private audience with the king. His face was pale, his voice trembled. He looked into the king's eyes and quietly said, "Your Majesty, the invading army is not our greatest danger." The king frowned. "What could possibly be more dangerous than an army at our gates?" The old scholar lowered his voice even further. "The greatest danger lies beneath the treasure itself." The king stood frozen, because those words awakened a secret he had carried since the day his father died, a secret that only one king in each generation was allowed to know. And now, for the first time in many years, that forgotten secret had returned.
King Sikandar Shah stood alone upon the highest wall of the royal palace throughout the night. Far beyond the desert horizon, thousands of enemy campfires burned like a sea of stars. With every passing hour, one truth became impossible to ignore. Sunrise would not simply bring another battle. It would decide the fate of an entire civilization. Yet the approaching army was no longer the king's greatest concern. His thoughts remained fixed on the mysterious warning spoken by the royal scholar. The greatest danger lies beneath the treasure itself. Just before midnight, the king summoned the 5 most trusted guardians of the kingdom. Without speaking a word, he led them into the oldest chamber beneath the palace. At the center of the room lay a massive marble floor, engraved with symbols so ancient that no one remembered their meaning. The king slowly placed his sword into a circular carving in the stone. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then the ground began to tremble. A deep rumble echoed through the palace. The enormous stone floor slowly divided into 2 halves, revealing a hidden staircase descending into complete darkness. This passage had remained untouched for centuries. Only one ruler in every generation was ever allowed to enter. The guards raised their torches, and together they descended deeper beneath the earth. The air grew colder with every step. The silence became almost unbearable. The walls were covered with mysterious carvings that told the story of a civilization far older than King Sikandar Shah's own kingdom. Ancient kings, forgotten wars, lost empires, and symbols unlike anything recorded in history. At last, they reached an enormous underground chamber. The royal treasure was there, mountains of gold, jeweled crowns, ancient swords decorated with emeralds, scrolls containing knowledge from forgotten ages. Yet none of it captured the king's attention. At the very center of the chamber stood an enormous golden gate. It towered above them like a monument built by giants. Strange symbols covered its surface, written in a language that had long disappeared from human memory. On both sides stood two colossal stone guardians, silently watching over the gate as if they had been waiting for thousands of years. The old scholar stepped forward and spoke in a whisper. "Your Majesty, our ancestors did not build this chamber to protect the treasure." The king looked at him in confusion. "Then why was it built?" The scholar took a slow breath. "They hid the treasure here, to keep this gate hidden from the world." Silence filled the chamber. Even the soldiers stopped breathing. The king stared at the gate. "What lies behind it?" The scholar slowly lowered his head. "No one truly knows. Our ancestors left only one warning. The gate must never be opened." At that very moment, the ground shook once again. Dust fell from the ceiling. The enemy army had reached the outer walls of the kingdom. The final battle had begun. Without hesitation, King Sikandar Shah gave his last royal command. "Move every chest of gold, every crown, every sacred relic, every royal record into the deepest chamber." Hundreds of loyal soldiers worked through the night. Torchlight danced across mountains of gold. Diamonds reflected like stars beneath the earth. One by one, the treasure disappeared into the hidden vault. Just before dawn, the final chest was placed inside. The king stood silently for one last look. He knew he might never see it again. With his own hands, he ordered the massive stone gates sealed forever. Ancient chains tightened. Hidden tunnels collapsed. Every map was burned. Every entrance disappeared beneath tons of rock and sand. Within minutes, the greatest treasure ever assembled and the greatest secret ever hidden had vanished beneath the desert forever. As the king climbed back toward the palace, a thunderous explosion echoed across the kingdom. The enemy had breached the city walls. But no one, not even the invading army, realized that the battle was no longer for the treasure. It had become a battle to protect a secret that was never meant to be discovered. What if an entire kingdom, its magnificent palaces, its mountains of gold, its royal crowns, and its history, vanished beneath the sand in a single night? For centuries, this question has haunted historians, explorers, and treasure hunters alike. Legend tells of a golden kingdom hidden somewhere beneath an endless desert. Its streets were paved with polished white stone, its palaces were decorated with intricate gold carvings, and its royal treasury held so much wealth that people believed it could have purchased entire empires. Then, in a single night, everything disappeared. There was no great war, no conquering army, no sign of looting. When the sun rose the next morning, the kingdom was simply gone. Only endless silence and an ocean of sand remained. Even today, travelers crossing that desert claim that at sunset, mysterious flashes of golden light sometimes shimmer beneath the dunes. Others say that on quiet nights, they hear distant bells echoing beneath the earth, as if an ancient city is still alive below the sand. Are these nothing more than legends? Or is an entire forgotten civilization still buried beneath the desert? Our story begins nearly 2,000 years ago. In the heart of the vast desert stood a magnificent kingdom known as Zareen Nagar. It was more than just a city. It was the center of trade, knowledge, and unimaginable wealth. Caravans arrived from distant lands carrying silk, spices, precious stones, and rare metals.